All right, this is part 3 of the Chapter 6 lecture for the MSSC and Manufacturing Fundamentals or Manufacturing Processes at Richland. So I want to spend some time here now talking about training and training leadership. In today's current manufacturing climate, with the amount of workforce that is needed for what's going on, training is going to become more and more important for all of you in this class. So it is imperative that companies invest in their employees, invest in training, and make sure that they have a fully trained, high skilled workforce that can do and know, make, and accomplish everything that manufacturers need to know about. So when we talk about training, we're talking about company orientation. Most of you who've had a job have gone through some type of orientation training when you're on the job. That is generally the responsibility of HR departments or actual training departments if the organization is large enough to have those type of training capabilities. So usually in this is when the company should be going over safety policies, SOPs, where to look at and get documentation or where to find documentation. Usually there's some type of company history or company organizational chart that is also discussed so that new employees can know what they need to know to kind of work within the company. So then we get into actually training those new workers on the equipment, on our processes, on the products, developing new skills, developing new responsibilities as they kind of go through. So obviously, workers are required by government, OSHA, and different other agencies to kind of follow set guidelines and protocols. Companies bear responsibility on making sure that those employees get that type of regulatory and mandatory training there as well. So when we talk about it on a corporate level, oftentimes we have what we refer to as a training needs assessment. So that is basically a process where somebody who has experience and knows a lot about training needs will go in and kind of try to identify different gaps, kind of get to know the company, get to know the organization, see what they need to be able to do, and identify any gaps that are occurring or things that aren't getting done. So that training needs assessment should include how to meet a company's business requirements, how they can improve performance, how to distinguish training needs from organizational problems. So, and oftentimes, we think of things in terms of training, and a lot of times they just throw, well, it's training, training, training. Yeah, usually most of the time, it's not always training. It is other problems within the organization that need to be addressed. So, and of course, all of that training should be focused on how to achieve the company's overall goals. So we compare what is supposed to happen with what is actually happening. So, and sometimes, training is also part of a company's quality management system. So you need to be familiar with the quality management system of the company and how training fits into that quality manual. So when we talk about the training needs assessment, so it can be incorporated through actual surveys, interviews, or data gathering. Once we've got all of that information and data, then we kind of take a look at it and analyze it, try to, again, develop solutions to help improve training needs there at the organization. So you will probably oftentimes be asked to be a trainer or provide some other new employee or a employee who's getting training and you might be basically asked to train that person. So you do need to know your subject. but it is not enough to just rely on what you already know. So I can think of several instances where trainers on a company basically just kind of uh, give them new people the basic information. So, and they themselves are not 100% sure of what the company's roles or training is. So you should make sure that you are also going through and reviewing all of the company's documentation as well, so that you can present it, make sure that the new employee has all that they need to be successful. So um, as a trainer, sometimes you might be needing to prepare materials that you need. That includes handouts, visuals, flip charts, and videos. Oftentimes, when you're doing training on the job, so you're not going to need to be there with doing that, but certainly you do need to make sure that the new person is familiar with what all of the safety issues are on a machine, what all of the knobs and buttons are for, and how to kind of set up, operate, and run that machine. So it's done a variety of different ways. So um, when we talk about on the job training, or OJT, so oftentimes this is where you are learning relevant skills when you're working, or what they refer to as learning by doing. So first, of course, you need some knowledge, some general information, maybe terminology, but then you're going to actually put it in practice and do it over and over again, and build through repetition. That idea of practice makes perfect. So make sure that you show people how it's done and give them a chance to practice, demonstrate the activity. Now, I want to emphasize here, um, that training is not telling. And that's a very important understanding, that yes, we can tell people what to do or even how to do it, but training itself is much, much more proactive. So it's not enough to just tell somebody. We have to actually show them, and then go back, and sometimes you might have to do it multiple times. So we do use standard operating procedures, or the step-by-step instructions for training, and oftentimes SOPs make training a lot easier. So, and that, of course, was the object of last week's assignment, there for you to kind of create that standard operating procedure. This week, you're going to see how effective that standard operating procedure was, in order for somebody else to make your project. So, think of things like your if you ever were in a sport, think about your best coach that you ever had, and then kind of consider their training and how they worked with you to develop your skill set and make you a better player in whatever sport you were working on. So that is very, very important. So make sure that you motivate, inspire, influence others. So that can be very, very effective. The people who are receiving the trainer will also often come to you and think of you as a role model, and appreciate what you've done for them in helping them learn the task that they needed to accomplish. You also need to consider where that particular individual is at, what their past experience is like, and kind of think about things from their perspective. So always in our manufacturing environment, include any safety information as well. Patience is a virtue. So oftentimes people are not going to get things on the first, second, or third time. So many times, sometimes people might need a lot more. So and a lot more practice in order to become truly proficient at whatever task they're looking at trying to do. Um, so we all companies organize and document training so that they can make sure which employees have what, and which employees know how to set up, operate, run different types of machines. Feedback is important. Flexibility is important. We also talk about cross-training and how important cross-training is, especially for those companies who are smaller, that need to be a little bit more nimble as they move product and parts from one area to another. So make sure that all of those workers are cross-trained, and it can really, really make a difference to the overall bottom line of a company. So training matrices are often put in place to kind of show what employees have gotten what training, and which ones still need to have more training or be trained for different things. So training matrix is often used by companies in order to kind of do this, and then of course to kind of see when promotion time comes up. If a new supervisor or new foreman, the training matrix also helps to identify employees that would be able and eligible to go and be promoted from there. Leadership in a company comes in a variety of different ways, and it is not always the CEOs there that you're going to be in contact with. So certainly on your larger companies, the CEOs, chairman of the boards, and the different employees that work for a company that are part of the upper management are part of the leadership. Of course, while we tend to think about leadership of the company being upper management, it is important to know that leaders can be found at all levels of an organization. So even a new person can have leadership potential and leadership input. So as you think about leadership, for most of us, that leadership is generally going to be provided by some type of a supervisor or foreman. But you may be put on as a team member and might be called on to become the team leader there as far as being a member of a team. So sometimes that team leader position might be rotated. So in the case of a lot of my classes, when we're doing cleanup at the end of class, often I will rotate the foreman or supervisor position to kind of help me make sure that everything is getting done and completed. And that person's role, of course, is to monitor and make sure that all of those cleanup duties get done. As a leader, whether you're a leader on a team or management, so you will often find yourself in the role of a coach or as a mentor as well. So sometimes, depending on your particular leadership style, so you might choose to rather tell the team what to do. There are leaders that just basically tell people what to do, and then they expect people to go and do that. Other team leaders and other leaders might be a little bit more active in kind of getting input from their direct reports and trying to make those decisions. But no matter what type of a leader you are, of course, you should be focused on goals, resolving conflicts, and trying to meet every day-to-day challenge that kind of creeps up on the shop floor or in the manufacturing environment. So as a leader, you do need to become good communicators. One of the reasons why I had you guys watch that video last week on top communication skills, of course, is because it does play a part in making people become more effective as leaders on teams and in the organization that you work with. So, and good communication skills don't always come naturally. They need to be practiced, and you need to kind of take a conscientious effort to try to improve on those areas, especially if you are not one that is very good at it in the first place. So your role will become even more important to kind of develop those skills. So always, as a leader, you should pass on information and you should be part of that. So making sure that anything that is unsafe, equipment, operations, make sure that you are passing on that information.